Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Our guest today is a geologist with over 30 years of experience as a consultant, mining analyst, and senior executive. He will deep dive into US dollar bonds, the mining industry, the gold price, as well as the company's recent news and drill program results. He's a director of Newfound Gold. Doug Hurst is joining us today. But before we bring Doug on, do me one quick favor and just go ahead and smash that subscribe button so we can keep making you these videos. Hey Doug, welcome to The Dive.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's dive right into it. This week, Canada will introduce a US dollar bond to test the bond investors' appetite. What do you think this signifies about the Canadian dollar?
Well, I think what it says is that the Canadian dollar, well, the US dollar is very strong because the rest of the world is a little bit scared, and both Canada and the US are nominally safe havens. And so there's a lot of capital is plowing into North America. And because Canada is a commodity dollar, an oil dollar, plus many other commodities, both the US and Canada are strong, and their currencies are showing it. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
Okay, so let's move on and talk about mining.
Sure.
What impact do you think the Russia-Ukraine crisis has had on the mining sector?
Well, I mean, there's several things that it's starting to impact. I mean, Russia is a very big exporter of a whole bunch of commodities, and because the U.S. has generated sanctions that are quite punitive to Russia, there's going to be less capital available to continue developing those resources. So some of the big ones are coal, natural gas, oil, nickel. Magnesium, the Russia is a very big world exporter of all of these commodities, and so a lot of these commodities will show upward trends as a consequence of one of the biggest producers kind of being knocked out of the game. As an example, when Russia took a big chunk of Crimea, they absorbed Crimea. There were sanctions put on the oil and gas industry in Russia, and it took a decade for Russian oil to come back. And so the same is true of mining. So you think about the timelines for producing all of these metals, building mines, enhancing production and such. If the capital's not available, a lot of those commodities aren't going to be available. So generally, it will be positive for mining worldwide, but especially in safer jurisdictions like North America.
Are those countries the ones that you think offer the best conditions for mining companies, North America, or is there any others?
Well, North America certainly does. Canada, most of the provinces in Canada have very positive permitting regime, and the U.S. is still quite workable. Nevada, Arizona, Idaho, you can still permit and build projects. And there's certainly safe jurisdictions. So, the rule of law, security of title is a big one. So North America is looking better and better all the time relative to the rest of the world. Yeah.
So there's been a few company mergers since 2021. Do you
Yeah.
think this could be the start of an M&A trend in the mining industry?
Oh, I do. I think that especially in gold, but several other commodities as well. So if junior mining companies are looking at developing projects, especially in gold, the big companies, their resources and reserves are a dwindling asset. And so they're going to need to go out and look for large, good grade deposits or deposits that are making money, smaller mines that have good geology that can be expanded. So I think you're right. I think that we're at the beginning of a fairly strong M&A cycle over the next year or two. Yeah.
So as a geologist, how do you define a good or bad drilling result for gold for an exploration company?
Yeah. Well, first of all, grade is king. So if you can find a deposit that has very good grades relative to the operating costs, better grade is works way better. So that's a good start. A second thing is that how can you mine the deposit? And underground mining is more expensive. It's more problematic. So if you can find an open pit resource, something that's right on the surface, that also helps an awful lot. Yeah, but if the grades are good, mining underground is perfectly acceptable as well.
The Bank of America and Goldman Sachs see the gold price hitting record highs over the near term. What is your read on the price of gold?
Well, you know what? I've been following the gold market for 30 years, and I never really know. I just sort of have a general sense, and so what I tend to do is I kind of put my stake in the ground today, and if a project is working at current metal prices, with a discount for safety, then I'm quite pleased. But having said that, I think that the world is sort of pulling apart at the seams a little bit, and gold is now becoming as much of a safe haven asset as it ever has. So I look forward a couple of years, and I see a higher price of gold. I don't know how high it will be. I've heard prognostications as high as $10,000 or $15,000 an ounce, but I don't know. I don't really want to live in a world where people are so scared that the price of gold is $15,000 an ounce. But I think that there is an upward bias. So I would say $2,500, $3,000 an ounce is certainly within easy shooting distance in the next 18 months. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Newfound Gold. Eric Sprott announced that he's purchased $126 million of shares in the company, and even said that it may be the greatest gold discovery in the history of Canada. What do you believe caught Eric's eye in the company?
Well, again, it comes back to grade. And some of the early results from Newfound, they found good, thick, quite mineable zones of very good grade material. And there's always the risk that you've hit the best stuff first, and that as you keep drilling, that you're never going to turn up results as good as you had originally done. But Newfound continues to generate good drill results, very good grade drill results, and the geology is very permissive for for larger and larger amounts of very, very good grade gold. The great thing about Newfound's discovery is that the Trans-Canada Highway goes right over top of it. The drillers can drive to Tim Hortons for their coffee break. We're not really in the middle of nowhere. And Newfoundland is a very, very reasonable place to get permits, to build operations, and so it's a great place to do business. The other interesting thing about Newfound is that it's well cashed up. There's lots of money in the bank, and we can keep the drill rigs turning. And so, there's a lot of really positive momentum in Newfound, driven by, primarily the grade, but just the continuous flow of very good results. Yeah. I don't know if it's the best discovery in Canada, but it's certainly shaping up to be a very, very good one. No doubt about that.
Now, the company did just announce new high-grade gold discoveries from an ongoing exploration program in Newfoundland. Yep. The results pointed to another new zone being identified on the property. Could you walk us through these results?
Well, yeah, it's just a continuation of more good drill results. So as they, so the interesting thing is that Newfound seems to have found the geological key. There have been a lot of groups that have worked this belt before, and every now and then they would get sporadic drill results, but either they weren't capitalized enough to follow up with enough drilling to really outline it, and so Newfound is lucky enough to have the structure, the geology, and the capital to keep drill rigs turning, so that we'll find more. The belt is very big, it's very long, and it's very permissive. So there's a lot more good stuff will come from exploration on the project. Yeah.
Okay, so Doug, what are the key timelines investors should be watching out for with Newfound Gold over the near term?
Well, I think that really the company is just going to continue drilling. We, as we do more and more drilling over the next year or so, we'll continue to hone the geological model so that hopefully there'll be more and more information that will be available so that we can drill with more predictive probability, right? So that now that we have new discoveries that are coming up every day, there's more and more to follow up on. So I think more of the same right now. Yeah. So
we'll look forward to the future. See what you guys can pull off here. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Doug. It's been a pleasure.
No, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much. Very good questions.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. We'll be back again tomorrow with the latest news and updates. So be sure to hit that notification bell before you go.